Welcome, everyone, to the second week of the Guardians podcast. I'm your host, Veritek, joined once again with my lovely co-hosts, Azax, Artemis Howell, and Old One Eye. How are you guys doing? How was your week? It's been a week since we talked, so hopefully it wasn't too bad. Anything exciting?
It feels like it's been a day.
Yeah, time really flies.
It does feel like it's been a day. Wow. It's been a week.
Goes by pretty
It's been
quickly.
busy.
Well, and it's 1 week closer to the beta starting, and we're gonna cover
Kind
that
of.
a little bit later. It's kind of like the Blizzard soon TM. At least there's been some news on that front, but it's still not exact. So I know you got your tattoo touched up recently, Donovan. But anything else exciting
By
happened?
recently, you mean minutes ago? Yes,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
That just happened. It is still wrapped, as a matter of fact.
Your
I'm asleep.
arm is still
Oh.
dripping.
Yeah, no, I got home literally about 30 minutes ago. So yeah, pretty recently on that one. This week I've actually been decently busy. Me and D-Day finished placing in Heroes because he just wanted to see where we play. So I've been grinding a little bit in there. I think I'm rank 9 after my first game, so that's
There you
not
go.
too bad. It should be a pretty decent climb. It was funny, got to see Pally Time. That was always good. I like him, so playing any games with him is always fun. Equinox
Nice.
too. So
There you go.
Nice.
yeah, and then they restarted the season in League, so that's been fun, but mainly because of the new queue system. I know nobody here cares about that besides me, but
It's a game.
the way that they updated solo queue this season is you can do 3 and 4 man groups, and like at first I think that sounds really weird, but if you think about the other pairing of that, it makes more sense because the 3-man group just gets paired with a duo, and a 4-man just gets paired with a solo.
Yeah.
So honestly, it plays the same, and you just have more consistent roles. So I'm just super into the ranked season and everything right now. I've just been climbing all week.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, I mean, I know that the season came out 2 days ago. I haven't logged in because I've been busy doing other stuff, getting ready for the show. I'm getting ready to play Paragon. It's the second test weekend. That's definitely a different game. But, it's been an exciting week for me, too. Like I covered, they announced the beta is coming back the middle of February. And as we all know, it was brought down to address the player feedback, kind of tweak some things. They did announce with beta coming back in February. They pushed it back because they wanted to implement a new game mode. And so it's going to be interesting to see what that is. We're going to speculate about that during this episode. But they're also going to address potentials for game progression systems, reward systems for the players, because they've also covered that in the past about the 2 systems that they had that they wanted to test out, and it just didn't seem to really work out. So hopefully here soon we get a specific date, but at least we have mid-February to chew on. So that's always exciting.
When they brought it down, they said it'd come back late January, and they wanted to work on balancing issues as well as getting a progression system, and then they wanted to get it out late January, and they wanted to release all of that at once.
Right.
And they're now pushing it back even further for this new game mode and the maps that have it, just to make sure we don't want to release things on at different times. We want it all at the same time for people, and just get it polished and ready. This will give them more time to work on the progression rewards. So I'm fine with them delaying the release if we have more content.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather them do that than give us some balancing options and then just say, here's the same game. Of course, I like the same game, but I'm glad they're adding more to it.
Yeah.
They're not just done, like, here's our release plan, and this is all we're going to do until release. Like, they're actually adding more stuff. They hinted a new map, I believe. We'll get into that later.
I think
Yeah.
they said maps, which honestly
Yeah,
that's
new
what
maps.
I'm super excited
Plural.
about. I don't remember if I mentioned this actually during the show last time. I might have mentioned it during the pre-show, but I'm sure I'll get into it sometime. But one thing I really like about Overwatch is the map design. And so I'm super excited to see what they do next. For a first-person shooter, I think the levels are awesome, like really, really quality.
I mean,
There's
every
logic behind it.
every map they've put out.
there.
I just have been in love with every map they've put out, and so I'm excited to see not only what the map looks like, but also because I'm kind of selfish and I want to see everything poured over into Heroes. Maybe then down the road, that map will end up in Heroes of the Storm. But for the time being, I mean, yeah, it's exciting not only to see map, but to see maps, because Blizzard they're geniuses with releasing content, and they always seem to satisfy the players' thirst for just a little while. So hopefully this will be enough to kind of give us something to chew on, and it won't be overwhelming from the start. You know, we gotta learn 5 new maps.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's only a couple, but they're still new content.
I was really afraid that the game was only going to release with the maps provided currently, and I'm extremely glad that for one they're going to have new game modes, a new game mode, and new maps because that it'll really feel a lot more fleshed out. They told us they were also going to bring back a few things. They were going to bring a music slider, the feature for music playing while you're minimized, a kill feed, which is a highly requested feature, and an always skip kill cam option, which a lot of people requested. So they're working really hard to bring the beta back with as much content and player feedback as possible, and they really like that. A lot of people, when it came to maps, a lot of the ones suggested I know were King of the Hill and Capture the Flag. But the idea I saw, and I wanted you guys' opinions on, was instead of Capture the Flag, one player gets in a mech, and you have to escort the mech instead. Because, there's characters like Tracer and whatnot that make Capture the Flag hard. What you thought of that?
Tracer. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Tracer and Capture the Flag would be very
a little
annoying.
tricky, unless you do those God hand hooks, which do happen, but like.
So
That would make Piggly Wiggly a very high preferential pick there to counter pick Tracer in
With
that
Bastion.
mode. Or Bastion, yeah. I mean, just mow her down.
Yeah, Bastion eats Tracer for breakfast. It's really sad.
I
For
mean,
such a happy guy, I swear that robot's powered on player tiers.
well, they are going to overhaul him, so it'll be interesting to see how they tweak him, before release. But yeah, as in his current state, I mean, Tracers they cry whenever a Bastion turrets up. It just ugh.
the thing with Bastion and Torbjorn that Blizzard has said, and I agree with, is that Bastion and Torbjorn are really punishing against new players, but not good enough in competitive. And I would like to see them played in competitive. So I want to see what kind of tweaks they can make to that. They said they're not coming with this build of the coming beta, but further down the line, and I'm excited to see how they tweak those characters.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a good time. But one point I wanted to make is another thing they said they were toying around with, and it's a very minor thing, but I absolutely am in love with the idea, is to skip kill cams. One point I wanted to make is another thing they said they were toying. I don't know what just happened, but skipping kill cams for me is nice because I watch a lot of like Call of Duty and Halo and whatnot when I'm at work because I can't get on Twitch, so I get on YouTube Gaming. At least it's something, and there's a lot of Black Ops 3 streams, and the ability to skip kill cams it helps speed the game up, so you don't feel like you're lagging, like you died and now you're really like useless to your team for the next 4-6 seconds. That's a really minor change that they talked about bringing in that I hope they do, because that's a big thing to me. Like I'm competitive. I want to get back in. If I'm dead, I want to atone for my mistakes, and that's a really big thing to me.
It's something where you can learn from it. You can take information off the kill cam, and that's their intent. But it can get quite frustrating, especially with how quickly you can die sometimes in Overwatch. So it's nice to have the option. It was definitely a requested feature, and I'm excited for it.
I'm hit and miss with kill cams. There are times where I think kill cams are really helpful to the player that's killed, because I mean, particularly in like a situation with like Widowmaker or something like that, it's good to know where you got killed from. But there are definitely times where it is like you're saying, you just need to get back in. You're trying to stop a point, something like that. So I don't know. I think it's a delicate thing to balance. It's tricky. I'll be interested to see exactly how Blizzard handles it. If it's just like straight up an option where you just click it and it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Well,
I think it's fine though, because there's always going to be a res timer, so you might as well just have something to kind of glance at while you're dead, even if it's brief or something. I mean, again,
This is
keep it
also
as an
fair.
option, but
Yeah.
Well, and if they had like a hardcore mode, even like just for the people who really just want to get back in the action, where they get rid of or like cut the res timers down. I know somebody in chat brought up the fact that you can press spacebar and skip kill
Yeah.
cams. That's cool, but like in the heat of the moment, I want to get back in. Like I'm focused on getting my heroes selected and going back in. Like I want the most minimal amount of downtime possible, and
Well,
it's just something that sounds cool to me in theory. I don't know if it'll actually be cool or if it turns into like an artifacts problem with heroes. Like, will it compound the issue? Will people have a problem with it?
Skipping kill cam is not meant to rush the death timer. You'll still have the exact same death timer. It's just meant to, like, I don't want to watch myself get killed. I'm tilted or something. You can do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess that's fair. I have been extremely fortunate in that I am relatively safe from tilting. Like, it takes a really fucked game to get any sort of salt out of me, because most of the time it's like, whatever, dude, I'm going to do another round like I'm a mobile player. Like, I'm used to thousands of hours into a game, you know what I mean? So,
There's variables for tilt.
There are. Luckily,
it's a
I'm
formula for me.
Yeah, and I'm pretty tilt proof. I'm pretty much average all the time. Like, so I'm good, but I don't know, with FPSs, I don't like to watch myself die, especially if I was an idiot and didn't see somebody camping and I turned and then they shot me in the back. I really don't want to see that. Like, I'd rather just kind of move on, brush it under the rug. But I don't know, that kind of stood out to me when I saw that. It's like, well, the ability to skip kill cams, awesome. Like, now I can prepare. I don't have to watch my mistake over.
Well, and more flexibility is good. If there are players who don't want it, then the fact that they have that option is just good. There's nothing wrong with it in that sense.
Yeah.
Well,
I was playing some Call of Duty, CS:GO this week. Yeah, why did I even say Call of Duty? CS:GO, and they have portraits for every individual player that darken when you die, and then they have the kill feed. I was just like, God, I want this in Overwatch so much, and they can make it look so good within the UI, and hopefully that comes soon.
Well, it'd be good for support players too. Like, having that is so helpful to be able to, like, at a glance to look at all of your team's health bars. It's the same reason for a long time people used Grid and WoW, And then Blizzard's like, no, we're just going to put it in the fucking game. That should be in there. You know what I mean? Like, they should have something like that in Overwatch.
Yeah.
In Overwatch, yes. There's not many FPS games that are going to be like, hey, we have a medic on our side. Like, you don't see that in CSGO. You don't see somebody running around, like, bandaging everybody. So, Overwatch, we have support.
I always feel like the most direct comparison for Overwatch is Team Fortress 2, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have that with the medic in Team Fortress 2, but also the difference, and I mean, there's a little bit in Overwatch, but the audio cues in Team Fortress 2 are extremely prominent. Like, in Team Fortress 2, if somebody's getting shot, they're going to start bitching about it, and it's going to get loud. And that's not even talking about the emote wheel. Like, that's just something that characters do in response to taking damage soak. And I don't know. It would be nice to have something more responsive when you're playing support, at least in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
On the same note, that's why I enjoy playing Lucio more than I playing Mercy. It's because Mercy, it's 2 single target. I don't have that much fun.
Yeah.
Mercy's not my favorite.
Good ult though.
Yeah.
Amazing ult. Very boring to play.
Well, and the Overwatch team has said that they are pushing the beta return back because they want to get all of this tested out, fleshed out internally, get it into the game so that they're not releasing it back to the players and going, hey, there's new stuff coming, but it's not active yet. Like, and I applaud them for that decision, because I know, with Heroes and with other companies, there are games entering beta and alpha and just, open and closed testing. They tend to rush stuff out, and it's been notorious the last couple of years. Companies are releasing games that are half finished, 70% finished, and then they finish them after release, and people are like, well, why am I even playing the game? Why am I pre-ordering it? Why am I doing this? Why don't you just finish the game before you release it? So the fact that Blizzard is saying, hold up, pump the brakes, we'll come back to this, because we want to give you the best product possible. It's really kind of a good decision. It might piss some people off, but in the end, I think the overwhelming majority is going to say, you know what? I like this game mode. I'm glad I can play it from day one, the beta coming back. I like this map. I like these changes to these characters. Wow, this is such a minor thing with the music, being able to, to play while minimized, to have the slider so that, I can adjust the volume. This is such a minor thing, but it's such a, a quality of life thing that I didn't think would affect me so greatly.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, when the beta does come back, switching to the competitive side of things, there was some news on the esports front. One of the more successful Heroes teams, 2ARC Gaming,
And I love
announced.
them for the record.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
All those guys, I love Tuark. I get such
Yeah.
a kick out of them. They're good dudes.
Alexi, I have a man crush on you. I told you this at BlizzCon. Notice how I did not add a no homo. Totally on purpose. But they announced that they are expanding with the recently re-released 2ARC website. They've kind of launched 2ARC 2.0, and with that has come a couple streamers, some staff changes, but they also added an Overwatch team. And it's players that have experience with Team Fortress 2, Rainbow Six, Call of Duty. I think one of them had a little bit of competitive Halo experience in LANs. But I mean, it seems like a pretty exciting roster. You've got SMG. I recognize Empiric's name from other FPS scenes. Bandit, A Potent Beast, Laser, and then more Nile. It's really going to be a roster that we're going to have to look out for when the game comes back on the competitive side of things. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about these players? Have you followed them before? It's just exciting to see another team, and see some faces and some names tied to that team.
I'm excited to see another organization taking a step into Overwatch before it's even released.
Exactly.
I might not have seen these names before, but I'm still very excited that orgs are now starting to branch into Overwatch so early, which should give some positive growth signs for the esport in general.
Right.
For me personally, go ahead, Sean.
Tempo Storm wanted to buy off teams, was trying to buy off teams for this company or for this game, and seeing another organization, as Morgan said, is really great. I like seeing that they know Blizzard's going to work hard pushing this out. And you have to imagine when they announced this 2 days before Blizzard's like, "Oh yeah, we're delaying the beta." These esports organizations have to be in contact with Blizzard at some point. And my last note is, if you're an Overwatch team, you should hire Morgan as your manager, because she's a pretty good manager and she's looking.
She is.
Oh no plugs here right now.
Put it on the spot.
The thing for me that I really like seeing about that it's 2ARC doing it too, and this might just be me, but it's a thing that matters to me, is when we talk about esports over a long period of time, right? And we're comparing it to like what they've done over in Asia and places like that. Like, they're very indoctrined, like really grandfathered organizations, teams like TSM, Navi, things like that you expect to see get teams. And the fact that an organization like 2ARC, which is a good track record, they're awesome dudes, like through everybody involved in that organization, like they're good, it's cool. Like, small organizations getting more teams, that's a good thing, that's healthy for growth. And so it gives me a lot of hope for it in just a really wide sense that more organizations are willing to throw their hats in. Yeah, I think it's a good sign. Like, the fact that the first team isn't like EG, I think is really healthy. You know what I mean? That's good. I like that.
I mean, big teams have already been out there. Like, Fnatic please mind me, they did have an Overwatch team that fell apart for whatever internal reasons, but big names are already trying to throw their way in there. But I still like seeing small orgs, like we stated, take a part into the scene before it's even out there yet. So I'm looking very forward to Overwatch's future in esports.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking on a point I made last week about the whole competitive class versus competitive character, it's really going to be interesting to see, because every player on that 2ARC roster has their role. You've got Simpiric playing his supports, and Mornile playing his roles. But excuse me, tongue tie. What's going to be really interesting is A Potent Beast. He's their main tank player, but he's known for his Reinhardt play. So it's going to be interesting to see if he sticks mainly to Reinhardt and they build team comps around him in a competitive setting, or if that doesn't work out so well and he's able to switch to other tanks. Because that right there, and I'm going to follow it very closely, might kind of put my little competitive heart to rest, that maybe I'm an idiot and you can play one character really well in Overwatch and not get hard countered. So it'll be really interesting to see, if I eat crow. But it's an exciting announcement. It's really showing some growth in the Overwatch scene, competitive Overwatch scene. I know I was a part of the really, really, really early competitive heroes scene. Some people think it's too soon. I don't know. I think it kind of helps build up that hype for when the game's released and when people get in, to kind of show that anybody can do it. It's just a good thing overall, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of want to touch base on what you said earlier about Reinhardt and his sick plays with Reinhardt and blah blah blah, building a comp around it. I think you are looking at the one side of the team who maybe that one guy gets lucky, gets to play Reinhardt till his eyes bleed. But what about the other players that might have to switch constantly in order to make that work? I don't know. I think maybe you're right in some essence, but wrong in other points, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I very well could be. There's going to be a lot of switching, and I think that was the unmade point last week that you just made it this week, was in order to kind of remain flexible, if someone is going to be rigid and they find a character they play really well, whether it be Mercy in the support role or someone just has to play Reaper, so they kind of have to build that team around them, somebody will be switching, because you can't play the same team comp and expect to just have continued success. So that was a really good point. I'll fully admit I could be wrong with that. But it will be exciting to see, and my hat's off to 2Arc for picking up some really, really good, exciting, promising players on that team. So it'll be interesting to see their level of success. I hope they have high levels of success when the game comes back.
I'll say this: Jinstrel in chat is saying the standard lineup in Overwatch Esports is Mercy plus Reinhardt plus Lucio, then Pharah / McCree or Reaper, and an off tank. And that's pretty much what you would see in the tournaments. You would see that kind of standard lineup of them, and then towards on escort maps, there would be some crazy diva action going on there to try and clear up and push points, and that's pretty much what we'd see. They had to kind of nerf a few things like Mercy plus Widowmaker, and so Reinhardt's really good, really, really good, and hopefully I would like to see some balances so that we do have a bit more diversity in esports with that.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see with this new game mode or game modes. I know a lot of team comps are centered around that. Your push comps versus your turtle comps. So when it comes back, not only changes to map rotation and game modes, but also tweaks to characters, to see if those competitive compositions really kind of just stick together like glue, or if they really get shaken down to the core of the meta.
All right. Well,
sorry, I was responding to this comment in chat about versatility in the tanks too. The thing also about any sort of proposed tier list is it's really still early in balancing right now. We're still talking about a game that is very much in beta. Yeah, they could ship it tomorrow and it'd be a functional, playable game, but as far as content and numbers and things like that, it's still very much being worked on. Yeah. And the other thing too, and we saw this in Heroes, and just in any game that has any sort of competitive scene, is skill cap factors in here too. As you get a larger player pool, you'll get more players who are, like Lee Sin in League of Legends. For the first 2 months that hero was out, everyone said that he was garbage and needed to be reworked because nobody could play him. And then once people figured him out, he's been a mainstay competitive for forever. You know what I mean? And so in this case of Reinhardt is always the best tank. He is extremely versatile, and because of the way his kit works, there are a lot of comps that are useful with him, but discounting tanks, especially someone like Winston Diva or Roadhog, I think when we see a larger player pool come in, we'll see those champions played more, because there is a lot of really cool things you can accomplish in those kits.
Yeah.
And admittingly, the argument was for versatility and always useful and things like that, but you can't really discredit really finite utility. If a team has, is known for running things like Pharah or McCree, something like that, a Roadhog hook is extremely effective. A Diva Shield is extremely effective there. And in that case, you could always say that it's better than Reinhardt. I think it's just worth noting that as we progress, we'll see more solidified tier lists. I think it's a little too early to say that Reinhardt is always the best tank. Though, currently in the game, it's fairly true. I'll admit that too.
That's very true. And, hopefully, I kind of like to see diversity. So hopefully it doesn't stagnate too much in the competitive level, and even in the casual level. Somebody always gets to play Reinhardt, which luckily with Overwatch, you can play more than one person. So it gives that versatility. But I guess if we're done covering that, I'm hoping when the beta comes back up, this rumored progression system, which that they covered the other two, Jeff Kaplan did in a video in December. The progression systems they were looking at, with the first one being much like the talent system in WoW, much like the talent system they have in Heroes, where leveling up kind of gave you different abilities and you can tweak those abilities. And then they had the second one where it was simply cosmetic rewards, and the downside to that was, someone then would turtle on a hero because they were so close to unlocking that next cosmetic item. It's really going to be interesting to see what this rumored progression system is that they're testing out, if it ends up standing up on its own 2 feet, if they're going to have to scrap it and just do a complete overhaul. So, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on kind of theorizing how it's going to play out and what you expect to see.
Well, I'll say this.
Sorry.
Why don't you go ahead, Morgan? You haven't talked much.
Okay, well, I don't think a WoW talent system or something that worked in HOTS will work in a very fast FPS themed game, so I'm kind of glad they scrapped that out. Progression-wise, though, they could just do individual hero leveling, and I think they're going to go for more of a cosmetic reward system. I think anything that will give your character, like, gains or power is going to be a little too ridiculous in this. Maybe, like, slow, steady power gains over time, but then again, not in like just a singular game setting where it's like, all right, you're playing this map, you need to hit level 20 in this map by getting all these kills and stuff, and it's you're gonna get some talents and stuff, and you're gonna go ham. I don't want that in this game. It's too fast paced.
Yeah. Well, the other thing
slow
too
and
is
steady.
as a competitive game that's trying to bring people in too, like they really, and that's why they're making all the heroes and maps free. They don't want like a content lock. So putting something in like a talent system is just boom, putting in a content lock. Like it's already saying you're going to have to put in hours playing it this way to get this content if you want it to be the best. You can't just pick up, practice, and go. And I think that's something they're really going for.
I don't think it's too gating. I think if they like level lock talents, sure, like they did in early odds is gating, but talents are a pretty common thing in games. I don't think people have too much of a problem with it. I think it just doesn't fit in the FPS world though, so glad to leaving that out.
Yeah.
Like an example, one of the talents they had was Reaper had a talent which would fully heal him when he entered Wraith form. And that's just, if you had 2 Reapers and one could do that and one the other couldn't, that's a lot of healing.
Like it's a big advantage.
Yeah. Or then Reaper had a talent which his shotguns let him shoot twice the distance. That's ridiculous. Short range, he was ridiculous. He's ridiculously strong. And at like a medium range, it would be too much. And having power creep in the competitive FPS just doesn't work. I mean, that's one reason I quit League of Legends. I didn't like having to spend all my in-game currency on runes just to put myself on an equal footing with other people of my class.
Yeah. And I think that's why they're not going to go with that system, is because they kind of, you kind of have to experiment and try every possible interaction between talent systems and just general progression, because why not? It might work. It didn't work in Heroes. They got burned pretty bad with the artifacts and talent gating. Like players,
never forget.
Never forget 2014. It's players hated that. Like it was as soon as it was announced, and even I tried it. And they're like, well, we're gonna give you X thousand gold for you to try in this game, but account levels 40 gets higher than account level 15, and it's like, ouch. So the fact that they at least explored that option with Overwatch and decided not to do it, I think is the right call, because they really got burned. You don't want to get burned a second time and kind of make that same mistake. That's insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So the fact that they went ahead and just shot that progression system down, I give them props on that.
This is not the game for it.
It's really not.
It isn't.
It's not.
Plus, how would hero swapping work if you were like in a game and you're like, well, I built these talents on this hero. Let me switch heroes and spend time rebuilding talents real quick while we're in fire. Oh yeah, no.
No, it's not gonna work out.
Something like that.
That overwhelmingness of having to swap heroes with different builds is ultimately why they scrapped that and moved on to the secondary progression system, which I want to talk about because instead of having this WoW talent system, they moved to a system where instead of being power based, it was all cosmetic rewards. But it led to a system where you were individually leveling up heroes. So you would gain experience based on how much you did or how much you played, and you get more with wins and losses. But like I would get experience with Reaper or with Lucio, and it ultimately leads up to a system where you like we need a tank right now, but I'm almost level 7 with Reaper. I want the reward. I don't want to switch, and it punishes you for wanting to level up your individual character.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's almost kind of silly that thinking kind of outside the box, looking at it from that whole glass house argument, someone who's just sitting on a character and they're like, man, I'm about to unlock this new cosmetic item. To me, it's like, well, that's really stupid. But if I were doing it myself, it's like, I know I would stare at that progress bar and just go, you know what? That's only like 1 or 2 more matches, 1 or 2 more wins. I'm so close, if I just grind this out.
Yep.
So I could see it's almost kind of like an OCD. And I think everybody has it on some level where that bar's not quite full. I need to fill it up. Well, we need this roll. Well, I really want to fill that, but it's staring me in the face. So
the master skin in Heroes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh man, you love grinding out those 100 games just to get that hat for Stitches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I like that hat on Stitches.
No, don't get me wrong. Literally, I
are you
don't think
saying?
there's a master skin in that game. I don't.
Why?
Know. Like they're all. I think it's great, but I'm just saying, like it's. We've all had that feeling in some games somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
Look, I'm wearing my Master Skin Artemis right now. It's got panda hat, Murloc scarf. So.
Well, in Overwatch as a game, I mean, you really shouldn't focus on progression. It's more about skill. So if the game's not really about progression, as Tom Chilton said to Jeff in a meeting, Tom Chilton being the game director for World of Warcraft, if it's not about progression, don't focus on it. This game is supposed to be played for fun, not that you're kind of getting more rewards. The reward is getting the fun level as high as possible every time you get in and queue in for a map.
With that in mind, I think achievements would serve that purpose, would they not? Like, you are getting rewarded for doing certain things, like, I don't know, get 10 headshots on Widowmaker, like make it a progression bar or something. Just small little examples like that kind of showcase that, hey, he knows what he's doing on this one character, and then you go look at someone's armory. Oh my gosh, this guy knows how to play like all these different characters, and it's evident that he put in the time to do it. Something
I'll
like
say
that.
this: when the beta first came out, there was remnants of the secondary progression system in the build still, and some of the things that were still there, unlockable items, were sprays, skimp things, special plays of the game, portrait frames, master weapons, and portraits and hero trophies. And attached to these, there were achievements as well, like multiple hero leveling, like 5 heroes, or 10 heroes at level 10, 10 heroes at level 10, 20, etc. And then Rocket Queen, I guess was Farrah's nickname. And then player level. So you were leveling your player level as well as your hero level, and unlocking things like skins and master weapons, which I actually would love in the game. I would love master weapons, but I also don't want to get into that point where I'm leveling Farrah just to get Farrah's master weapon.
Yeah.
Well, then they could do like TF2, where you kind of like you were unlocking stuff in TF2 by doing achievements. This is where I go back to my achievement system. You did like each class had their own subsection of achievements, and you would earn guns and other items. I mean, this is just for TF2, mind you. By unlocking X amount of achievements for your character. For example, the Pyro, you had to unlock, I believe, 20 achievements, class achievements, specific to the Pyro in order to unlock a class-specific weapon. Stuff like that. That'd be kind of a cool idea, maybe for progression instead of levels. Maybe it would work in this.
I think it would be tricky to do it with the weapon, because I think we need to shy away from things like that, just because the whole concept of it's just this hero switching. You can't really have like multiple loadouts if you're switching heroes too. That kind of kills it. So I think you just need to shy away from that. But having things like just, oh my god, gold rocket launcher, boom, done, cool, ship it out. Like, I'd be okay with that, Like, get an achievement, get a skin, that's cool. I'd play it, especially if they're going to be selling cosmetics too. Like
Yeah.
if you're already gonna be delving into cosmetics, and keep in mind, I guess at this point we're just talking skins, right? It's just whole
Yeah.
skins. It's not individual pieces. Then yeah, having something like a master skin, just like in Heroes, seems totally reasonable. You know what I mean? And I don't know. They did say it was a minor disaster, but I still it it's good to have some sort of reward. If not just an experience reward, I'm all for achievement rewards, just because it's kind of
It
fun to
gives-
do too. You know?
Yeah, it gives you something to do. And even if you only did like, the bare minimum, let's say you did 15 out of 50 achievements in order to get your one skin or whatever, that's still cool. There's still like X amount of other achievements eventually you can work for that might be like extremely challenging or something. So, I mean, just an idea.
Yeah.
I also think it works better in TF2 as well, because in TF2 you have the whole crafting system and the natural drop rate. Like, besides getting class specific rewards for achievements, you're also just getting stuff for playing and the whole crafting system. So like it fills out that balance gap a little bit, because if something you really need something, you can get your hands on it. It's just disassembling some stuff and making it, you know what I mean? So I think it works a little bit better there. It's
Yeah.
just I'm agreeing with chat and everybody in here. I mean, I don't think there's anybody who's disagreeing. I just hope that Blizzard really just learned that they cannot do like loadout weapons. That doesn't you can't do that. It doesn't work. It wouldn't work in this game.
Master weapons, as long as they don't change the hitbox and the silhouette of the character. You need to be the same exact size and target. And if you can do that, I'm all for master weapons. I would love like special, like as you said, like a gold rocket launcher on Pharah, something like that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean something simple too. It doesn't even have to be huge. Like, yeah, it would be cool to see like Hanzo get some fancy ass bow, you know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be anything that big. It would be nice to see something small. And at least achievements. Like, if just, hey, I've done this. Like,
Look at me.
yeah, like
Progress.
that's because you want to be able to pat yourself on the back, you know what I mean? It's about more than just a ranking. And like having something that can be like, look, I did this sick thing in game. Look at that box. That's me, baby. Like
And plus, there's completionists in this entire industry. Any
Yeah.
game you go to, people are gonna want to go and, oh my god, I gotta do all these achievements, blah blah blah. I even tried doing it in TF2. I tried grizzling down all the pyromancer achievements because, oh my god, it was fun. But
some are ridiculous too.
some of them were ridiculously difficult, and they would just require like terrain. It got crazy when it came to, like terrain stuff and other stuff. Blizzard's creative enough; they can easily make some kind of system revolving around that. I don't know though. That's just my idea.
Yeah, players want to be rewarded for their time. You want to be able to show stuff off. And personally, they can do whatever they want. But if they do like some sort of master weapon, master kind of skin, McCree's better be the biggest Banff belt buckle I've ever seen. Like that.
like
that shows
dinner
dedication.
plate.
Yeah, that shows dedication. It better take up like half of his chest and go all the way down past his codpiece. Like that better be his master cosmetic item. I will rock the crap out of that. I don't care
I
what
really
anybody
love
says.
that belt buckle.
Dude, it's so awesome. Like I'm getting one made right now. Like it's at the custom embroidery shop. Like they are hammering it out of metal. Like I'm gonna wear it everywhere, even when I'm not wearing a belt. If I'm in sweatpants, I'm wearing my Banff belt buckle. Like, so I want to see that in game. Jeff Kaplan, make it happen. Well, last week we covered May and her utility role. This week we're going to shift a little bit, and we're going to cover more along the lines of support. And what better way to start off with than with Lucio? Sean,
Cinnamon the Winnemon.
you sit him on the Winnemon. Yeah, I mean, seriously, he looks like Applejack. You say that all the time. That's what you call him. That's what he is. I mean, that's kind of the nature, I expect him to start throwing Applejacks everywhere. I mean, it just kind of, and that could be a skin. Oh God, cosmetic item, perfect, awesome. Like
Partnership, dude.
Partnership.
Give the code cereal
So he has
boxes.
here's an Applejack with like attached to the ends of his long dreadlocks.
yeah,
Come on, guys.
Oh, he's got like huge ass dreadlocks. I don't even.
Come on.
They're so weird. I love him though. He looks great except for the dreadlocks.
yeah.
Aim on. These are
So
futuristic dreadlocks.
Lucio,
You don't hate the fashion of the next generation.
50
Next,
years
like,
from now,
14th
we're all gonna
generation.
have like huge, thick.
I'm still hoping
dreadlocks.
the future looks like the Fifth Element. I'm still holding out for it. Somewhere in me is still just hoping, man. So.
Why don't you go ahead and run down his abilities?
All right. So Lucio's a DJ slash freedom fighter from Brazil with no affiliation, which I find interesting, just in the lore aspect. But for his abilities, he has a sonic amplifier gun, which shoots a 4-shot pulse that does about 80 damage in total, and it has an alt fire knockback, which is one of my favorite things in the game. I love just getting up in your face and knocking someone off a point, just throwing them off.
I just like knocking people off like the side of a barrier.
Yes.
Death. There are inevitable deaths in the pits.
One time in Gibraltar, I went around a corner and knocked 3 enemies off the cliff, and it was the best day of my life. I love it.
Bye.
His other ability is crossfade. Now this is his main thing. It's you toggle it and you switch between AoE healing and AoE speed boost. And instead of showing you the radius of your healing or boost, you'll have like a number in the middle of your screen and it'll show the number of people on your team that are affected by this. So you're passively healing as you're rollerblading around or getting a huge speed boost, which can be ridiculous with movement. Like a full speed boosted Tracer just is insanely like almost off-putting when you're that close to Lucio and you're just going like hell. Now his other
Mobility is one of those stats that you can't really trace by numbers, but it's just absolutely huge. Just
it's
monumental.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now his other abilities amp it up, and this is where he'll play a little music number, and then it'll provide a bonus effect to this. And it's got like a 10-second cooldown, and then it's just a big boost in healing, big boost in speed. It's ridiculous how fast you go with this. Now the big thing about Lucio, before I get into his ultimate, is his wall riding. That's his passive ability. You can jump and hit the wall and just ride up, and you can gain altitude with it. And you can do crazy things. Like I think we have a video of Seagull, one of the top Overwatch players, basically becoming Spider-Man. Just you don't think when you first play Lucio that the crazy things he can do with his wall riding, and just the crazy like areas you can achieve. And once you get practice with it, you just have to jump into a wall and hold down the space bar, and it just craziness can happen. And I love it. I use it to just get around my enemies and just hit them in the face, and I love it so much. Now.
He's so mobile, like it's infuriating when you get against a good Lucio player and they're just hopping all over the place. It's like,
Is the clip now. This clip is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just rewatching on stream is just like fucking absurd.
Yeah.
It makes me like violent. It's whoa, you can play this game that good. Like, oh my god, sorry, it just blows me away every time I see it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Lucio, he was one of those characters, like, when I first saw his abilities, it's like, he's got a dubstep gun, like, he's web-webbing people, like, this is going to be stupid. And then he actually got put in the game, and people started playing him, and they're like, holy crap, this guy is awesome. And on top of that, he's got good style. Like, it's one of those where you kind of get surprised. I know some people probably, not me, because I don't like support characters that much, they really wanted him, but I just looked at him, I'm like, this guy's got dreadlocks, he's on like rollerblades, he can climb a wall, like, okay, Black Ops much, but I mean, he really kind of surprised me. It's it's infuriating to watch a Lucio just hopping all over the place, and he doesn't even touch the ground, like, ugh.
One of the hardest heroes to kill and just catch, because he's so mobile and so fast. And then if he gets into too much trouble, he can use his ultimate, which is Sound Barrier. And he drops his beat and creates a huge shield on all his allies within his healing radius. And they gain like double the health. And it's just, at that point, I'm just like, I'm out. I'll wait till it's over and get in there, because it's such a good ultimate. If you can get them off and maximize the amount of your players on your team in the Sound Barrier, it's just ridiculous. It's so good. If you ask me to play support, I will play Lucio 99% of the time. He's my favorite. I don't like being stuck like Mercy and just like, I'm going to heal you now. I like being aggressive, and I can do that with Lucio. I can heal my team, but I can also wall ride or jump and speed boost into my enemy's face and just punch them off the wall and just shoot them in the head. I love it.
Well, the thing that I really like about him too, in terms of the supports, is like you get a lot of feedback from him. Like, he's fun to play. Like, don't get me wrong, Symmetra has great moments when you actually set up a room and somebody just walks in and gets wrecked, and like, just look at all these teleporters, like, it's good, you feel good. But like Lugia, when you pick up Cinnamon, like, you feel like you're playing a game. You know what I mean? Like you actually get the feedback. There's a lot of uptime. You just feel like you're doing a lot. It's good. Like he's a fun, responsive hero, and I think that's what really makes him shine, especially compared to the rest of the support lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Minstrel in chat is saying that in an actual competitive environment, while wall ride is actually just used to get up on balconies or run away. In direct combat, you don't really use it because it's too predictable and makes it harder for you to aim. And I agree with that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't play support in this game. It's the only game I played support in this Heroes of the Storm. But even with that said, Lucio is like the only support I will touch because of these reasons. He's just a lot of fun to play with the mobility aspects of him. And like I said, blaster.
Yeah, I mean, I when the game was announced, like I hopped on the Mercy train, like the original characters when they announced him. It's like Mercy, she looks like a Bamf. You know, I have an affinity for Bamfs. I mean, she can just keep everybody alive. Her ulti, it's amazing. But then I found myself whenever our team needed a support, you know, on the rare occurrence that I wasn't playing, you know, a damage dealer or you know, an off tank, I would lock in Lucio, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because he's really good, because he is. I mean, he's one of the better supports. That's kind of why you see him in the competitive environment. That's kind of why, you know, you see him so much just being played in general. But I mean, it's one of those where I wasn't excited, and he really kind of is a staple in the Overwatch game now.
Oh, yeah. He just, like, even as a secondary, like, have like Lucio. You have the Mercy for direct healing, and then you have Lucio for the AoE healing as well as movement speed. And a lot of people, like, when I first started off with Lucio, I use his healing a lot more than I ever did his speed boost. I never saw an opportunity to use it. I'm just like, it's really good. I need to use it. And using the speed boost, you can use it to make your wall riding to get even like higher altitudes and that kind of thing. And it's just, once you get the balance between healing and speed boost, you can become really effective.
Mm-hmm.
Positioning is so important in a game like this too, especially where primary game modes are like capture point and, you know, payload, stuff like that. Like, positioning's gigantic. That move speed boost is just invaluable. It's so, like, who doesn't need it? When is a scenario where it's not going to be good? You know?
Right.
And Minstrel again saying that they're the primary support. That's true. And just Symmetra doesn't heal, and she's really like a, what would you call it, like a side pick. And then you have Zenyatta, he's risky. And yeah, he's like 150 health. He's got super low health. He's just easy to kill. This is why I wish there was more support coming out with the release of Overwatch. I feel like we only have two real primary, we only have two healers that you really want on the team, and it's kind of not that variety, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Symmetra's more of like the, you know, Morgana in League or the Tassadar in Heroes, or, you know, you're not really going to lean on her. You need something else. And I think Lucio really fills that void, but there's got to be more than just him and Mercy. You know, it'll be interesting to see what the dev team comes up with as far as supports go. But it seems to be a notorious problem in any Blizzard game, is they really focus on, you know, the characters that can take a beating and the characters that can deal out that beating. But then when it comes time to, you know, provide a support kind of character, there's not many. And I mean, it's because people don't really get as excited about them. So yeah. I get it, but
for me, and this is, like I said, I come primarily from just a really expansive MOBA background, from just playing fucking everyone that's ever come out. The big thing for me too that I think needs to be considered is that designing a support's difficult. And it's because a lot of utility stats aren't easy to measure in numbers, like movement speed, like exactly how effective a shield is, things like that. Because when you talk about support, you're not just talking about direct healing. You're talking about heroes that bring utility to your team.
Right.
Like when you talk about tank, that's somebody who brings crowd control and damage soak. When you're talking about a damage dealer, they're bringing your damage, obviously. But those things that make a support are just a lot less definable and a lot less easy to measure. So as far as like play diversity is concerned, I think the play diversity in the base 4 supports are good. As far as like different concepts, you know, different play styles, that's not bad. As far as actually usable, that's a different story. Right. I agree with the whole there's only 2 actual supports in the game right now, but I just think it's harder to make. You know, like the archetypes, there are less of them, you know what I mean? Like it's tougher to make a good support. That's why, everybody I know who plays support, even though you don't see him a lot in competitive play, loves Brightwing and Heroes because Brightwing's a fun hero to play. Brings a lot of utility. It's interactive. You know what I mean? So
When she's murdering
Hey,
people
that's not
cheerfully.
true. You would be surprised how many professional players really love like Rhaegar right now, but sorry, that's not the point.
Wrong game, guys. Wrong game.
But I'm just saying, it's harder to bring good supports into a game than it
Yeah.
is to like design a tank or a damage dealer. I think it's
Especially
a
in an
much
FPS
trickier
game.
beast. Yeah, it's a hard
Yeah.
thing to do.
And they kind of nailed it pretty well here, because they also go through the route of not every support has to heal in a sense, which is why we have Zendaya or Shield Lady. God, I can't remember her name right now.
Symmetra.
Symmetra, yeah, Symmetra. Just like two prime examples of how like they don't have to essentially be just primary healers, like say Mercy with a healing beam on you or Lucio with the healing wave on them in order to be recognized as support. They still have other things that support the team.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't stick with anyone having a specific role. I mean, if you look at tanks, they have one tank who's primarily a shield. You have another one who jumps up. He's a shield, yes, but he's also a backliner. You also have a tank who he's just a meat he's a meat shield, and he hooks in. And you have another tank who, why am I blanking on this? Diva, who just she gets up in your face and causes mayhem, and then explodes to clear the area. So they're going for diversity, and I like that.
It's very true. Very true.
But still opening the ground for new ideas too, like
Yeah.
not keeping everything so vanilla, black
Yeah,
and white.
it's not so linear. It gives you kind of numerous opportunities for abstract characters down the road. And that's the beautiful thing about Overwatch is you're not really pulling from other games. Like you're coming up with 100% original content. They can do whatever they want, and it's going to be exciting to see what the future characters that they come out with, if they even decide to come out with a bunch of new characters.
Oh, they will.
You know, because this is you got to buy this game, which they'll probably be added in like future downloadable content. But really, kind of having an original title, I think this is part of the reason why people were so excited. Is Blizzard is kind of coming out of their comfort zone. There's no Warcraft, there's no Diablo, there's no Starcraft. There's Overwatch, and I mean the possibilities are endless. You can have so many hybrid. You can have so many just stick to damage, stick to soaking up damage. You know, it's really going to be exciting, and I really can't wait to see, you know, what the next characters will be, what the next support's going to be. You know, and I say that not really playing much support, and I think that's just because I got forced into it when I was playing MOBAs. But you know, it's really kind of the sky truly is the limit. You know, the stratosphere truly is the limit for Overwatch, and so you know we're going to be hanging on for every inch of that journey.
Blizzard's come out and said that when it comes to Overwatch as opposed to like Heroes, this is the game where like you have a crazy idea, we're putting it in the game. And I mean, you want a StarCraft professional player who's now driving a mech that has the biggest explosion in the game? Hell yeah, let's put it in the game. And they're not putting up barriers. They're going to think up crazy ideas, and they're going to make characters that fit them, and it's going to be a wonderful experience.
They're breaking the fourth wall. That's just the first time I saw Diva, and we're like, she's a StarCraft pro. Really, really Blizzard. And then you see her, you're like, her mech's got cat ears, like it's pink. What? And then all of a sudden, it's just like, well, yeah, that fits. Okay, Overwatch, you know, YOLO. It's just there's no barriers. Like you could do whatever you want. You know, GG Blizzard. This game is just going to be amazing.
I love the references, and I'm kind of curious how this is going to work, crossing characters into the Nexus. Like, their heroes going into the Blizzard universe, or what? Because you see like all the Blizzard references in the game and stuff, so you're like, wait, how are they going into the Nexus now? Like, you know, because they're adding Tracer to HOT, so just don't think about that too hard. It'll give you a headache.
My mind will be blown the first time if they put Diva into the game, because you're going like 6th level Inception. Like it's like the top is it spinning? Is it falling? I have no idea. There's a freaking StarCraft pro in an Overwatch game playing a StarCraft pro, or in a Blizzard title. Like I'm just waiting for Leo DiCaprio to pop out of the bush. Like what's going on here?
She would look at like some of the heroes and be like, wait a minute, I was your ruler or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Not anymore. But yeah, Overwatch. That's just how they roll.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it looks like we're getting to the end. Before we end this here, we'll give everybody a chance to kind of sign off. Artemis, where can people find you at?
Currently, they can find me at _ArtemisAl. Had to name change, so it's whatever. So yeah, you can find me there on Twitter, Facebook if you're creepy enough, and sometimes on Reddit.
When Strays is stealing your karma.
Yeah. Damn,
Karma
that
whore.
strays. Sean, how about you?
You can find me at Twitter and Twitch at AZAX Gaming, AZAX Gaming, and I'm going to try to start streaming again. Without Overwatch, it's kind of lack of motivation. I'm going to be streaming Heroes this week, I believe, and some other games. Like I was streaming Paladins the other day for research for the show, and I'm excited to play some more FPSs. So we'll see that. And then Donovan, where can people find you?
For Twitter, I believe right now I'm at NA1I. I'm always reachable there. Also, I guess I can do a slight plug here since I'm even wearing the shirt, but I also do stuff with Multitapped and all those guys on YouTube. So Matt Ezero, Cygnus Destroyer, Dubious Gaming, Import Gaming for the win, stuff like that. So YouTube and Twitter mainly, places like that. So
Sounds
I
good.
do want to say a big thank you to Tailspin and Minstrel from professional Overwatch players. Checking out the podcast. It's really awesome to see you guys in chat, and thank you for supporting us.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's going to be good to see the show grow, the community grow, and the fact that players are coming back and supporting, content and content creators in their infancy. I mean, it means a lot to me, especially, this is my channel. You guys are my friends. This is my world that we're living in. So it's nice to see you guys in chat and interacting with people. And hopefully you guys continue to come week after week, and hopefully we can entertain you.
And if you need a manager, let me know.
If you need a manager.
I'm pretty happy that none of us fanboyed out too hard. I know that's always a little bit hard whenever you see people, because I mean, some of the competitive Overwatch play already coming out is just like, oh my god, like it's just you drool. It's so good. So it's nice. We like the community, so it's cool to see.
And before I sign off, there is a giveaway going on. There are Tracer statues. There's other stuff going on. Play Overwatch did tweet it out. You're running out of time. I believe the deadline is Monday. I know I entered under like 7 different names, so I'm gonna have all my statues up, and you guys can cry and salt out and chat when you see. But don't forget to go and enter. It is a giveaway. It does go off your BattleNet email. There are additional entries if you follow them on Twitter, if you follow them, like them on Facebook, if you subscribe to YouTube, all the various YouTube channels there, the official ones. So go sign up. Don't forget, you're running out of time. But as for me, I'm Veritech. You can find me on Twitter at Veritech_. Somebody from like 6 years ago took Veritech, so I'm different. I got an underscore.
What a jerk.
And you can find me on Facebook. My page is pretty inactive because it's a lot easier to push updates out on Twitter. People will read Twitter. It's a lot shorter. This is my channel you're viewing it on, twitch.tv/VeritechGG. I do stream on YouTube Gaming every now and then, but that's just because it's YouTube. I'm part of an organization of streamers. I'm one of the smaller streamers there, but you can check me out there. But yeah, I mean, we will be uploading this. We do have an iTunes account. We are on SoundCloud and Spreaker. So if you want to find us, just go in the search panel, type in The Guardians. I know on iTunes especially, we're one of the top responses. I know the other one is a Destiny podcast. Nobody really needs to watch that, listen to that. The Guardians. Let's talk about Destiny.
Oh, yes.
But we are there, so audio listeners, do not forget to check us out there. We will update it. I'm really good about getting it uploaded to iTunes and SoundCloud pretty much as soon as I hit stop recording, stop broadcasting. So I believe that's it. Any parting thoughts, guys, before we go ahead and close this out?
Is it
Bye.
mid-February yet?
February.
Yeah.
I wish.
I wanted to come back.
Oh, and those of you who are going, who are Heroes of the Storm fans, and are going to go to the regional finals in Los Angeles,
Oh, I guess
you
this
can
is
meet
the-
us. Yeah, all four of us are going to be there. In fact, Donovan bought his ticket. I bought my ticket. The other two live in the local area, so we'll be there, and we might not be able to do a live show, but we will do some sort of live content, and we're gonna have some minor little swag that we're gonna give out. So the Guardians crew will be there live in person, February 27th and February 28th in Los Angeles. So
we
if
just
you're
like
there,
esports.
Yeah,
That's all it is. We're-
Yeah, pretty much. It's
yeah.
yeah. These sports, we'll be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area, come shake our hands. We'll be wearing our shirts, and we'll have our names on the back. So. It'll be good to meet you. But if there's nothing else, I mean, for the Guardians crew, I'm Veritech. Go ahead and steer this ship off into the sunset. We'll see you next Friday.
See you later, guys.
Goodbye. Bye. Leave. No kidding. Don't leave.
Rude.
Oh, rude.